Welcome back, everyone, to the Week 2 recap of Pokemon UPC Sword and Shield Season 1. I'm joined again by E4 Will,
The guys.
and we're going to do a brief coverage of each of the games played this week. We have four, I would say, kind of difficult matches to commentate when you will.
Difficult's a nice word for it. I think it really just kind of exemplifies how difficult it is to adjust to this format for a 6v6 draft league. Oftentimes, especially with the way that Nintendo is supporting online competition with competitive Pokemon, with the 4v4 ranked battles, the casual battles, and the like the battle stadium, battle spot hybrid thing of the bring 6 pick 3. This 6v6 competitive format with Dynamaxing is definitely just such an odd dynamic that we're still figuring it out. We're going to get there. We're figuring it out.
Guess without further introductions, we'll get this first match on the road. This is Hunter, who is HM586 on the left, and that got Reverb Mark on the right. And already looking at these two teams, there's a lot of hurt on Hunter's side of the field.
Hunter's side of the field, really, the Hunter being the Sacramento Nido Kings, of course, and then that guy Reverb Mark being the Tennessee Smokescreens up at the top. Hunter's team, the Nido Kings, with Grimmsnarl support and then such hard-hitting Pokemon such as Corviknight, Hydreigon, Gyarados, and then set up Pokemon like Sandaconda. There's just that whole team is threats. The whole team's threats. And then you look at Mark's team, and you have really, really, really great support, right? You have fat, hard-hitting Pokemon in Appleton. You have great field setters such as Weezing and Dee and Dusknoir. Halecha is just a phenomenal sweeper, especially since Dynamax has come in, and all these terrain setters with Dynamax. It's just unreal. And then Ditto being just the, hey, know you Pokemon.
Yeah.
And then, it's going to be a fun matchup, I think. Just from looking at the lineups, you think, okay, yeah, there's a lot of power on the bottom side, but there could be a lot of cool, trendy things up at the top. So that's what we're really expecting out of Mark's team this season. And this team did not disappoint for just kind of cleverness, I suppose.
Yeah, it's definitely the tech team this season.
See how it plays out here. Starting out with the leads, trying to figure out the best way to get Hunter exposed to Grimmsnarl. Grimmsnarl can do so many things, such as like setting up the screens, and then of course Indeedee does the same thing as setting up that psychic terrain. Quick switch into Weezing as we also get a light screen and then a double into Corviknight. No damage really from Mark's side of the field so far as Dusknoir comes to the field. Corviknight gets that substitute up behind the light screen, looking very, very threatening.
Yeah, anytime you see the bulky Corviknight behind the sub, you know things are about to head south.
Oh, it's just such a huge setup threat that that's what it wants to do. It wants to get in a good position with a good matchup and just try to set up the sweep pole. So, and to try to stop that or at least slow it down.
Yeah, I mean, here we see, it's tanking several punches with its substitute before it even looks like it's going to face any damage. And, I mean, it just allows it plenty chances to set up.
Shadow Sneak. Sorry, go ahead.
That was it.
Yeah, even the stab Shadow Sneak moves can't really do a whole lot of damage. The Thunder Punch with the 2-times damage with that defense being boosted. Dusknoir is not known for its physical attack prowess anyways, but the trifecta of different punches is really cool. I'm glad to see that kind of tech because maybe that could be cool with a Dynamax set somewhere down the road.
It'd be terrain control. Put up electric terrain, change the weather.
Exactly. So thick, they're really the only stat that it lacks, just like with Dusclops or just a few other Pokemon like Toxapex or maybe Shuckle, is that the HP stat isn't that great for these Pokemon. And sure, Dynamax may not be the best move for utility Pokemon such as these, but maybe a Dynamax set for Dusknoir could be the new wave. Who knows?
Yeah, and I mean right here, remembering if this is the right turn. Yeah, the haze resetting that Corviknight was a pretty good move on Mark's behalf.
I was in the room with both of these players as they were going, and just the frustration was there. One's frustration for not being able to break the ball, and then the other's frustration for just having everything that just worked for reset to nothing. So
I think Thomas
it wasn't that bad.
I think Thomas says it best in the chat right there. Why are we still here to suffer?
It is suffering. This is new meta, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Gala region where we have hats and birds duking it out 40 turns at a time.
This match goes on for, like 54 turns, I believe?
It's a pretty lengthy one. It comes down to some long strats, but longest. We've seen worse already this season.
Yeah, I don't want to think about that last week's match.
Yeah, I don't know. Nathan just has a knack for finding himself in 100-turn games. I just don't understand. Always rough. Okay, getting the roost off, back to full health. Now we're talking some serious business. Now, everything has been reset completely. We have full health Corviknight behind the substitute. We had full health because of the Healing Wish back into Wheezing. It's a pretty thick Pokemon. It may not even been built defensively, but it's definitely walling the Corviknight with a fair pace here.
Yeah. Just like Wheezing, biggest problem with trying to outlast fights like this is it's like it has no real reliable recovery.
Well, that and its speed. There's no speed for it to be able to get the hits off. A substitute Pokemon like that, you have to be able to punch it first before it gets to do anything, and try to get that down before back up. So the Hulucha is in now, and this is probably the most adept physical attacker on the team, and it barely even does anything. It's hitting a wall, and then one hit from the Brave Bird on a +1 Corviknight, and Hulucha's gone. So unfortunately, the best offensive Pokemon on Mark's team has just been eliminated.
And even though Ditto's coming in and getting these, like the boosts on this, the problem with him only having 5 PP and the pressure on the Corviknight is going to really hurt what this thing can actually do when it's on the field.
It's better than mirror armor, isn't it? Just a mirror matchup to do the pressure onto the Corviknight, which is, of course, it's a choice scarf set on the Ditto. That's not a whole lot of surprise. I don't feel like anybody's going to be upset with me sharing that information. But the choice scarf, especially, just locking you into only 5 moves of one move instead of 5 moves of every one of them. It's really shutting that down some. It's kind of making things difficult for Mark.
And with the pressure, it's more like he only has 3 moves than he has 5.
Right.
Seeing the Corviknight being reset again with Haze, just finally finishing off this Wheezing, and it's just a war of attrition at this point.
It is, and there's some smart plays to keep this going. You think, oh, he's down to Popa. Really, you get to kind of get a feel on what kind of battlers we're dealing with here, and how much prep really is for the game. Mark may not have had the best prepared team for this matchup because Corviknight was able to do what it's been doing, but it's really refreshing to see how well he played even through that disadvantage.
Oh yeah. So your big old Cobbler on the field right now, trying to even out just a little bit Mark's side.
And Dracula, it's not going to do great against that Corviknight, but man, is he awesome. I'm glad to see him. He's probably one of my favorite new Galar Pokemon, because who doesn't love dragons, right? I'm a dragon fan from way back, but who doesn't love pie? It's the 2 most American thing you could possibly put together and throw in a Pokemon game. Americans and pie. And then you got Mr. Doug Dimmadome, the mustache man, with Wheezing, and, Q's are great. Come on. This is what we want.
Yeah. Coming back in, it's pretty much just free to set up here. Not really much I don't think that this little eye is going to be able to do.
There is a limited amount of what it can do in general. Crits here, 2 in a row, in fact, to be able to even take the Corviknight out. And at this point, it's looking pretty grim, unfortunately, for Mark. But he hung in there. He's definitely hung in there.
Yeah. I've seen several players when anything like this gets set up on Showdown that they just quit without trying to finish off the rest of the thing.
Right, yeah.
I understand his point, trying to locking himself into roost here, trying to eat up a little bit more of the PP on some of those moves, but
Sure, for sure.
And at this point, he's still got plenty of Brave Birds to spare.
Yeah, the PP Max is coming in here. That's probably one of the best features of Showdown, is all of those moves are automatically PP maxed. Not something you normally see in Wi-Fi battles. So a nice little.
Did we lose your Will?
I have returned.
Okay.
Screen share's off though for me. If you don't mind, pop that back on there.
Okay.
Thank you. Pretty much wraps it up though for the first matchup there. That was definitely the lengthiest matchup.
I paused it for a moment there, but yeah, it's definitely the longest match this week.
Yeah, and you know it definitely beats 100 turns that we've seen before, but needed two critical hits there. I think was what would have done it for Mark, and even then it would have been really, really hard for him to get back in. It was just Ditto, unless he could bait out some sort of a setup with the other 5 Pokemon on Hunter's team. It was just such a long shot. But like I said, you know, even in the disparaged position he was in that late of the game, he kept his chin high and kept on, you know, trading hits. It was impressive. It was good. I don't think he'll make that mistake twice with prep and letting something with you know, just maybe not even an overbearing advantage as much as lack of disadvantage in Corviknight to take precedence and kind of control the game. I think in preparation for everyone, you're going to have to make sure you cover all your bases, because it's so hard, especially with Dynamax mechanics, to be able to cover all your bases. But at least you had those to your advantage as well to try to cover a couple more. So
Yeah.
it's really tough, but I think we'll see more of that going forward as far as figuring out this meta.
The Ditto run out of moves here, but yeah, like you're saying, it's different than how it was with Megas, because it's a lot harder to predict where the Dynamax is. With Megas, you could kind of tell where it was coming from, but this, I mean, with anything being able to do it, I mean, you can catch somebody really by surprise on a lot of these moves.
Sure, and the setup that comes along with them is like Z moves on steroids. You get 3 of them too. Sure, you only get them once in a game, and it can only be on 1 Pokemon per game, so it's kind of a hybridization of both Mega Evolutions and Z moves, which we've seen in the past. But man, it's so unpredictable, and there are such weird mechanics that go along with them as secondary mechanics. It's tough. It's tough. So I feel like that was pretty well played out all the way to the end. both sides. Mark played well, trying to fight going down the hill, and Hunter was right there with the high ground. So it was a tough game. Hunter pulling away with the 6-0, but nothing for Mark to hang his head about there. It was just a kind of a prep disadvantage there as far as not like what we've seen in the past for 6-0s. That's not one to feel ashamed of.
No.
Second matchup, who we got, Dean?
See, our second matchup, just going to refresh here, is
I see that Shofu, the Durham.
Yeah.
Galarian Darmanitan. That has to be Nate versus me. Yep. Oh no.
You want to give us a little bit of insight into your train of thought going into this match?
Sure. I was thinking, there are such fast Pokemon on Nathan's team. The Darmanitan is just such a problem. He also, you're not seeing it here, has Whimsicott on his roster. And Prankster Whimsicott right now, especially even with the Nintendo, the online Wi-Fi battles through the Switch and through Sword and Shield, you're seeing a lot of those with Tailwind set up. Maybe it's not as prevalent in singles, especially maybe not on Showdown, but there are such hard damage-dealing Pokemon on Nathan's team that I had to make sure that with Whimsicott set up that I could be faster and I could get that first turn with Trick Room as well. So I tried to bring enough options where I could go either direction, be really, really fast or be really, really slow. So I brought two of my fastest Pokemon with Heliolisk and Cinderace on this team. Both of them are 109, 116 respectively with speed tiers. Really, really fast, and then you got really bulky with Copperajah, Quagsire, Dusclops. And then T-Tar can kind of go both directions. That's what I was thinking coming into this one. But when we get into the team matchup and the preview, I don't see Whimsicott. And I'm thinking, okay, I'm just going to have to try to outplay Nathan here. Darmanitan's such a threat. Most of the time it's a Jolly set with a Choice Scarf on it, and the plethora of moves it gets access to are just ridiculous. Ferrothorn is such a wall. Morpeko can hit hard, and it actually has kind of a cool move pool. If you haven't looked into it yet, you should. Arcanine with its plethora of good abilities, plus it can be physical, special, bulky, non-bulky, offensive, extreme speed, all of these threats. Mandibuzz is just a great wall with U-turning knockoff, and then Scorch is great because it's just got great moves, and then the G-Max with that is also kind of threatening because that Fire Spin to trap you in. So that's just kind of what I detailed insight, knowing that I had to prepare for this matchup. What a key game, which if you wouldn't mind, just go ahead and start that first turn there. You'll see it takes a turn for the worst almost immediately. So, of course, Cinderace is faster than Arcanine. I got a quick U-turn there to try to scout out a little bit, and I bring in Tyranitar because I expected literally anything other than close combat. Pops my Chople Berry, makes it impossible for me to get set up with a D-Dance or anything with this. I can't even deal damage. I just have to get out of there. And T-Tar lost a massive setup opportunity right off the bat. It was basically crippled where it could get set up. And then comes the bane of my existence, Ferrothorn. I think I maybe got 30% damage off on this thing altogether. It's bad. It's just bad. Why did they bring Ferrothorn to Gen 7 or Gen 8? Why did they do this?
It beats me, man.
So I get a little damage off onto the Scorch, which is great. Really hoping that would come in later because I learned more in this battle before. Scorch is thick. It's got weaknesses. It's got a lot of weaknesses with it being bug and fire type, but it is still pretty thick.
Yeah.
So, but I let Illuminati just take care of himself there. Just go ahead and fade into the ethereal, good buddy, because Kermit's going to come in and try to at least maybe catch off the Scorch. Now, what I don't understand is that under Trick Room, I knew Scorch was packing Power Whip. And I knew it was probably, of course, the Dynamax was going to be really good. But what I didn't expect was for him to switch out from Scorch, knowing he could just OHKO one of the greatest defensive threats on my team. and he switched out, and my Decepticon drop slide didn't get to work.
Yeah.
Gmax Squidward here coming in. We haven't seen any Gmax Pokemon yet. I thought I'd bring mine for the Steel Spike setup. So I got the Steel Surge, and the Steel Spike is now up. And then, I was afraid of Flash Fire on Centiskorch, and I knew that I had the quad super effective move onto Ferrothorn, but even through the Protect, that thing didn't take hardly any damage.
Yeah.
Just the Intimidate compiled with it was rough. It was rough. Was not dealing the damage I needed to deal. Even with that, Sheer Force Rock Slide wasn't doing anything.
Of course, here he taking advantage of the sunset up earlier to heal himself, and
which was fine. Now I learned something here. I had no idea that solar power would take some of your health, whether or not you used to move. I just lost health.
Yeah, I think pretty sure it just takes health regardless. It's similar to how I guess dry skin does the same.
Yeah, I think it was a real testament to that Arcanine thickness, because I used solar power hyper voice, which is stab in the sun, so it's 1.5 times power, and it didn't die.
Yeah,
that's incredible. Really was incredible. Cinderace can't do anything here. There's nothing it can do. Or knowing that he probably still had that whip and that problem. Now, if I can live through it, which I don't, then I could have hit a Stone Edge because I would have been faster. But I wanted to pretty much put money on that it was an adamant set instead of a speed set. So yeah, just a hard call.
Say, bounce was a nice tech here.
I thought it was cool. I thought it was neat. I wanted it in case, Cinderace was Choice Scarfed. I wanted it in case I needed to hit that Dynamax button, and I still wanted to be faster than the entire team. Because if he did bring the Whimsicott, I had to have some cool things in the back. I prepped well. I'm not gonna try to act like I didn't. I just threw this game, because I really put some thought into this. Now, I didn't put as much as I maybe usually do, but I thought it was a creative team. And I still lost 5-0. It's over. This game is done.
Yeah.
It's just, oh my gosh, man, it's smothering. Well, how good Nathan's team is and how well he played it, of course, those things probably should go without saying going into, this is season 9, okay? Nathan is, 3-time champ?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Nate's good. I'm not trying to diss my little brother here, but, you would think that I would figure this out to where it wouldn't have been just an overbearing loss, because I did. I feel like I prepped well, and the team was ineffective. So moving on.
Right.
Props to Nate that the Centiskorch definitely was an MVP nominee coming out of that one. I think everything going into this week's MVP nominations, which we still have voting out for that, was deserving of it. I think in that first game there, if you'll remind me, we had Corviknight, of course, which is just an obvious pick. And then Centiskorch coming from that second game as the MVP for the winning team. We've got game 3 here, which is between Saber Shogun up at the top. That's Trey running with the Houston Rockets. And then at the bottom end, we have Tommy4552. That is our coach for the Orlando Magic Bounce. That's Thomas. Got some different looking teams coming into this one.
Yeah.
But a lot of Galar Pokemon, don't we? A lot.
Yeah. I mean, just looking on Thomas's side, I mean, obviously we saw how Galarian Corsola pretty much took control of their match that lasted 94 turns.
The week 1 matchup between the Magic Bounce and the Don fans, Nate versus Thomas. Yeah, it was pivotal to that lengthy game. Corsola's thickness, and there's a lot of other thick on this team. You look at Mantine, you look at Hatterene. Mr. Mime's got some decent special defense, and then Obstagoon has some really good defenses all the way around. You get up to this team is right in the middle of the road for bulk, with the exception of Corsola. And then you get to Trey's team, and it's also that kind of middle of the ground bulk. Honedge can do a lot of things as an Eviolite user.
Yeah.
Rotom has great normal bulk. Stone Journer has ridiculous defense, maybe not so great special defense. And then Quiver Dance Rabombi with special defense. Didon is pretty good defensively. They're decent Pokemon here. These are all middle of the road bulk. I think it's an interesting dynamic for competitive, because usually you see your glass cannons mixed in with your walls, and these are all kind of a little of both teams.
Yeah, it's really hard to kind of differentiate some of the Pokemon this generation, because it seems like a lot of them are kind of just jack of all trades. I mean, they've got a lot of them have a decent amount of bulk, decent attack stats, but a lot of them are on the slow side.
Right. Yeah, we're kind of back to the beginning of Alola as well. Like, you remember 2017, everything was slow, everything was in a quick room. Singles, doubles didn't matter. Now we're looking at pretty much the same thing, except for people are doing Trick Room plus Dynamax, which is it's Trick Room on steroids. You can have field like terrain control, and you can have stat boosting moves through that. It's crazy. It's really, really crazy how everything is slow and thick and hard hitting. Really want to see what these leads are too, because there's also so much setup in this generation. So starting this game off 6v6 singles, you kind of expect to see one or the other. You expect to see really thick to kind of engage the other person, or just a setup sweeper right from the get-go.
Yeah. But I guess without further ado, we'll get this third match going and see what these leads are. Got the hat and the washing machine.
Just don't even mind the chat at the right. It gets crazy sometimes. Don't mind us. Hatterene can deal some hits, but that trick right off the bat really kind of keeps things. It keeps Hatterene in check. It makes it honest, where it can't do any kind of funny business. It's just there for business now, doing damage. Really good switch there.
Yeah, very good switch. I mean, it's a free turn to set up his Flame Orb at the end of the turn, and I mean, that Guts knockoff just absolutely hurts.
That's incredible. It was for free.
Yeah.
Duraludon gone for no reason. The third that Obstagoon is Trey may, but sometimes you have to calculate your sacks there, and that may have been a calculated sack, saying, hey, Didon's not going to do a whole lot in this match. Hatterene's already weak. Mr. Mime, I'm not worried about. There are certain things that you have to calculate like that, and it could have been a calculated sack. It could have been just Thomas getting the best of him with that, because Obstagoon is hard hitting. Now we're seeing that stun spore coming onto the Excadrill, which may or may not be big. I don't know. There's a lot of debate on whether or not paralysis is important. Especially when you get that 2x speed with the rapid spin and gets set right back up. I think it was a very smart switch. Dean, if you don't mind to pause it here for a second, I'd like to talk to you about this.
Yeah.
Back it up a couple turns there, because you have a 2x speed Excadrill, which is normal speed, right?
Yeah.
And then you have the ridiculous literal Stonehenge wall that is Stone Journer.
Yeah.
And Stone Journer got that defense up, 135 base stat defense. But Thomas realizes something else here. Trey still has his Dynamax, right? We're very early on in this game. It's turn 10. We haven't even seen any kind of hint of a Dynamax. If anybody should do it, it should be Trey right here to take out the drill. Because we know it's not Choice Scarf. Maybe it's Focus Sash. Who knows? But an Earthquake wouldn't kill a Dynamax Stone Journer. So Thomas makes the incredibly smart switch right into Mantine. Now, I don't think there's any circumstances where Trey, even with Dynamax, clicks that Heat Crash or Stone Edge move, right? The Max Rockfall. So I think Mantine is safe. It's an obvious Earthquake, so it's a really good read switching into Mantine. I just wanted to take special note of that because this was a turn that could have really changed the game around if Thomas stayed in. I just get the sensible kill if you take Dynamax out of the picture, because would have beat everything else on this team.
Yeah.
Everything else. It would have been over. But Thomas saves the Armadillo, the Armadillo, the Excadrill, and swaps into Mantine and takes 0 damage. So that was cool. That was a neat play.
Yeah.
It's that first turn of Dynamax. We get to see Corsola hit the field again, which may or may not be a good thing.
Despite being as bulky as it is, I mean, that power spot. I mean, that power spot just is an insane amount of damage boost, especially with it being Life Orb too.
A Life Orb on Stonejourner is thick, and Dynamax and all that. The attack stat's like 120, right? Stonejourner's strong. Maybe it wasn't a defensively built Corsola, but with the sand damage and everything racking up, that's going to be the shortest trip we ever see Corsola take to the field all season. Is 2 turns. That's wild. The big stalled crit there coming off of the Mantine into the Ribombee, which was very fortunate for Thomas's side.
I mean, right here's another. I mean, this isn't like a big play right here, but I mean, it was a good predict on Trey's part to go for the shift gears instead of immediately going for the overdrive.
I think so. You can't just start clicking electric moves when there's still a ground type in the back, even though the other 3 can't do anything about it. You have to be smart here. And then, I don't understand why he fought Obstagoon, which would make sense, right? I'm not going to pick on that. But, yeah, staying in and getting killed by the Earthquake, definitely questionable. I'd like to know more of his reasoning for that, because Trey's a good battler. I'd like to kind of pick his brain on that, on why he stayed up for supposed to be. If it was Focus Dash or something, I could have got it. But, yeah.
I believe
maybe
earlier
it was Focus Dash.
No, earlier it revealed the throat spray.
Oh yeah, that's true. I missed that. You're right. So I don't know. I'd like to pick his brain on that one, on why exactly he stayed in with the Toxtricity. Maybe it was lack of options, because that Mold Breaker Excadrill is still there.
I mean,
and now that it's Dynamaxed, of course, not a whole lot you can do. You just stay in and try to bait out that Dynamax and wait for it to go, because all 3 of your Pokemon can't take the Earthquake run.
Yeah, I mean, Rotom's at 25% health. Stonejourner 83%. I mean, it's regardless of what came in, maybe minus the Doublade, it was going to die.
This is where the calculated sacks, I think, come in. So I wasn't upset to see Toxtricity go. I kind of questioned the sequence of turns that Trey did there, but maybe it was just in trying to bait out Dynamax. Maybe. So it worked. He got the Dynamax up, and now Trey has to try to play around it. So he's burned 1 turn of the Dynamax. Let's keep it rolling. Next up is going to be, I think, Rotom here?
Yeah.
Yep, there's Rotom. So Rotom, even though it's Mold Breaker, is definitely faster and can hit with a massive special attack move, try to wear that thing down, and gets the incredibly fortunate Paralyze.
Yeah.
Eliminates the Dynamax Armadillo, or the Excadrill. I keep calling it by the Armadillo. Thank God I don't call Obstagoon. Oh God, Obstagoon volunteer. I think we should. I'll talk about it after this game here. But Obstagoon really can hit so hard. The Obstruct is such a great play, except for the Stone Edge. It doesn't make contact.
Yeah.
If it would have been some sort of a contact move, Obstruct would have been great. And then the close combat. It could have been a roll. It could not. And then the Stone Edge misses. Now, if Stone Edge would have connected, Life Orb would have killed Stonejourner, but at least Obstagoon would have more than likely, I feel like 95% confident, it would have been out of the picture. And it would have just been Doublade versus Mantine and Mr. Mime, which Mr. Mime would have been no problem.
Yeah.
But Mantine, it's tough, man. It's tough.
Yeah.
Especially with it being leftovers like it is. So the game could have been a little closer. I think it was very well played on both sides. Now it's kind of winding down. And we're seeing that Doublé just it can't beat
Yeah.
the rest of the team at this point, unfortunately, especially with it being burned. That was
And,
and then a crit. I mean,
yeah.
you get burned one turn and crit the second. That's tough. That's hard to play through. Um, Great battle. I think Thomas definitely deserved the win in that one. Not by a wide margin. I think he just barely earned that game. Even though it's a 3-0 win, sometimes that doesn't tell the whole story with the differential.
Yeah.
I think Trey played very well. Maybe like to pick his brain on some of those moves, and maybe if they were calculated sacks, maybe not. But Thomas he just knew he had a game plan going in, and he knew what he was going to do. And there were very smart plays scattered throughout. Good win for the Magic now. What do you think about that, Dean? Anything?
And there was a lot of smart plays. Like you were saying, I'd like to find out from Trey what his mindset was with some of his, we'll say, calculated sacks. But I mean, like you were saying, there was just one or two turns that really decided this fight. I mean, the 3-0 differential on the other side, like you said, it doesn't tell the full story. I mean, there could have been half a dozen outcomes to this game.
Absolutely, I agree.
All right, and
Final matchup here.
final matchup. This is kind of going to be our showcase matchup for the week. A lot of the same on Russell's side of the field that we saw last week. A lot of the setup sweepers.
You got a team chock full of them. You got to bring them, because all it takes anymore is one turn of getting a good, favorable matchup on what's on the field with singles. And through Dynamax, you can start a steamroll, no problem.
Yeah.
It's really easy to do if you have the right tools. And looking at these previews, both teams definitely have the right tools. Be down to see who is going to use it more effectively. And I think both of these are really well comprised teams. The members of them are great.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to come down to who can deal the most punches the hardest and the quickest.
Let's go ahead and see what these lead Pokemon are here. Slow this back down. Frostmoth lead against the Toxapex is interesting. Quiver Dance is a very obvious obvious relief
Oh, yeah.
here.
Yeah, no, I get the Quiver Dance. The thing I don't think I get is why Toxapex was the lead and it didn't do anything. It shouldn't be afraid of Frostmoth. It should be afraid of setup, but there's a lot of other Pokemon on this team that can take that setup. And we'll find out more as we see them hit the field, but, especially with you being in the driver's seat, you should think, okay, I need to use Toxapex for it. I was going to use it on the field. My other Pokemon can handle this setup Frostmoth later. Instead, we see, Colossal get a lot of damage, and then Bisharp get one shot. So, maybe not the best.
Yeah. Bronzong, even though as bulky as it is, it still takes a chunk of damage on the switch in.
And that's worth being scared of. I'm not just ridiculing on Hurley's side. The 49 Tails have a great roster and good potential, and I think he's definitely made improvements as a team. But if you got Gyro Ball Bronzong in the back, you throw it out first, man. That sucker punch ain't gonna do you nothing against Frostmoth and Ironhead. You're not gonna be faster than a Quiver Dance Frostmoth, brother. Just throw out the Bronzong, eat the hit, kill that guy, because it needs to go. It's physically weak. Frostmoth can be a great setup sweeper like that, but not when you got checks like Bronzong, man. You get rid of that thing.
Like here we see the Gyro Ball finishing off the Frostmoth, which, that's I guess that's the other side of setting up is, you get the speed boost like that. That Gyro Ball is going to do more damage, even though it is.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of Pokemon that get Gyro Ball anymore, are there?
No. I know there's one interesting set that I'm curious to try out later on, but I'm going to keep it my own secret for the time being.
Fair enough. But Bronzong and Ferrothorn, we've seen two of them already this evening in this matchup set here. Bronzong gets access to it, of course. Ferrothorn gets access to it. Neither one of those are surprising, but there are only a couple of the Pokemon that weren't Thanos that get that setup removal tool in Gyro Ball. Says, okay, you get as fast as you want. I'm thick, I can take the hit, and I'll make you pay for that speed boost you just took. So keep it rolling here. Ice Cube comes on and takes that 25% damage from the ice type being weak to the rock. Goes for the belly drum anyways. Now, if Bronzong would have been a dual threat, if it had been a mixed attacker, I would have started screaming watching this game because that would have been sick. Just hits him with the psychic and eliminates the Ice Cube.
Yeah.
see you later. That would have been cool, but hey, you got to have 1,000 IQ for that kind of a play. I don't know anybody that would have built a mixed attacking Bronzong for that situation, but it'd have been neat.
Yeah. We see the consequences of that setup going on right now. I mean, this Ice Cube is just dealing out damage like it's nobody's business.
You don't realize how many turns it's already been on the field until you look at how much leftovers recovery it was getting and how well it paid off, because it took the skull from the Toxapex and lived and got to deal more damage. Like, you took Toxapex to 65% by clicking Liquidation, which is resisted on it, instead of the stab move with Icicle Crash. It's a mess. Maybe you want to get that defense drop. I don't know. But, clicking what he clicked, it still did a lot of damage, and he still lived. So that's kind of cool. The leftover recovery paid off. Plus this poor Pincurchin's heart.
Yeah.
That's terrifying.
He's trying. Poor old...
click Liquidation, no.
Yeah.
Oh, you got strain. Hit the zing zap zoobity bop. You got to hope for the power and try to get the thing gone, and you didn't do it. Oh yeah, you got conk. You hit the conk button. Russell coming back in about 20 moves into the game, just like week 1, clicking the conk button. Everybody sit back. This Pokemon have been maybe the wave this week. I don't know. We had the Guts Obsta Go On, which I think is what we should change its name to. It's not Obstagoon, it's Obsta Go On. And yeah, so you have Obsta Go On and then Conky. Just Haze. Love to see that.
I think at this point though, it's a little too late for this. I mean, Haze ain't going to get rid of Guts Boost.
No. I was running Haze this week too. I had it on the Quagsire. So you gotta pack it, man. All these Dynamax setup sweepers, you gotta have something.
Yeah.
But Toxapex can't even switch out and get that regenerator build back up with its HP, so Conk just kind of slurps it all away. And there we go. We get Conk Elder doing what it does. Russell taking care of business in just 20 turns. That was impressive.
Yeah. And I mean, each of these games, like we said earlier, relatively short compared to how last week played out. But we saw some good tech. We saw a lot of hard hitters.
Absolutely. I want to actually talk about that for just a quick second, if that's okay.
Yeah.
This last game, Hurley has some massively hard hitters. Bisharp has made itself a predominant Sucker Punch knockoff Pokemon, and then Ironhead is just great in a very saturated meta like what we have right now.
Mm-hmm.
Bisharp is fantastic. Dragapult is terrifying. Toxapex can take any hit. Bronzong can take most hits. Graplock is cool. I think it's still finding its niche. And then maybe would have brought a physical Colossal for this week, considering its main job was supposed to be taking out that Frostmoth, and its defense stat is weaker, plus Ice Scales doesn't come into effect. Those are my issues. But Hurley's got a great team. I like it. Yeah. And he will find his way with this team just like everybody else is finding their way with theirs. But I want to talk about Russell's. Oh my God. He used 3 setup sweepers to eliminate even such a great team as as Hurley brought. And 2 of Russell's Pokemon didn't even hit the field. We never saw Haxorus. We never saw Dracozolt. Pincurchin did pretty much nothing. So that game was won with Frostmoth set up, Ice Cube set up, and then Conk Elder, which Dynamax set up. That's just powerful, man. And then 2 of the Pokemon never even hit the field. That's wild.
Yeah.
That's wild. Welcome back to Gen 8, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be an interesting meta, an interesting rest of the season too.
There are some potential things that could be happening through Showdown, which, of course, if you haven't noticed by now from watching this video, is our main platform. With the OU tier, there may potentially, there's more than just rumors going around because it's been discussed for a while, of Dynamax and Gigantamax being eliminated from competitive 6v6 singles play, which is the bread and butter for Showdown. I don't know if that's going to be the case, if it's really going to happen, if it's hearsay, or maybe it's just some salty players because they're not laddering as quickly as they have in the past. Who knows?
Yeah.
But I know that this meta is so difficult to find your niche in, and if after watching it, even just this week's matches, maybe not even taking into consideration last week's matches, the complexity of this meta, including Dynamax in the 6v6 singles, is difficult. So maybe that's something looking forward, even in the next week or two, that may change. There could be a lot of shifting sands under the foundation of our draft league here as far as Showdown play. So wanted to bring that up and maybe mention that to you guys, give you some food for thought on what could be happening looking forward.
Yeah, and it's bad when you have to ban a core mechanic of a game.
That shouldn't even be in the conversation, should it?
No. Like, imagine, like, I know that there were seasons in the Ultra games, and they're kind of the last couple of years, you know, there was a few seasons where it was, oh, no Megas, no Z moves, but then at the end, it was everything.
To go on.
And I mean, it's like weird to see that even like in the official matchups for the Pokemon that the Pokemon Company was hosting, that they had to eliminate a mechanic for even just a season.
Indeed. Yeah, you know, there were certain things like Mega Pokemon that could be banned to a certain tier. That's fine. There were certain Z moves that, like Extreme Evo Boost and then Baton Pass. That's fine. Baton Pass's mechanic, Moody's mechanic, you ban those things.
Yeah.
Showdown, go ahead. That's fine. Those are side mechanics. Very, very small, I guess, demographic of Pokemon can even access that kind of stuff. That's fine. You get rid of Sandveil, you get rid of Snow Cloak, minimize. You take all the double team, you take evasion out. That's great. You forbid endless games, right? The infinite game log. You get rid of that. That's cool too. Get rid of all that. I'm fine with that. Because you're not touching a core mechanic, and this is a core mechanic. So it's really tough to kind of chew on this for a bit because there are a lot of things I like about Dynamax as far as 6v6 format for our draft league. I'm still feeling it out and trying to figure out whether or not I like it. But, you know, you're right. If that's being discussed about being banned and it's a core mechanic of the game, oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no. Yeah.
Like, I feel, you know, me, you, and several of the other guys, we mostly play doubles because that's what the actual VGC format is. And, you know, it's like, even on Showdown, you can't tier doubles because things that are threats in singles may not be the big threats in doubles. And, you know, Dynamaxing, if you predict it right, or you double into something when something has been Dynamaxed,
it's not overpowered.
Yeah, you can deal with it.
It is, yeah. It's completely different. There is so much more breathing room for a Dynamaxed Pokemon in singles to be able to get set up and just continue to sweep. Playing the Galar Beginnings official competition last weekend, there were so many Pokemon that just after either I got set up or they got set up, that just could not respond in a singles 3v3 format, to where you just knew you were going to get swept or you had to forfeit. It's hard. And then in singles, you have to sit there and watch it burn just a little bit longer sometimes because there's almost less you can do. Definitely in singles, there's less you can in doubles because the Pokemon are harder to take down and harder to prevent from setting up. But I don't know, man. It's different. It's definitely going to take some more figuring out. And I hate that that's the way that we deal with things is, sure, half the deck's got Thanos, but we're going to Thanos the main mechanic he gave us.
Yeah.
Pokemon, here you go. So I don't know, man. I don't know. There's a lot of things up in the air. Hopefully, whatever is determined will be for the best, because I want to see competitive flourish now that everything has become so well balanced in game, and that platforms like Showdown can benefit from that as well. So I don't know. I'm curious to see where we're at. This is a very volatile time in the early meta.
Yeah, and I mean, it's just going to be a thing where we just got to see what happens. We got to feel our way through it.
Buckle up and enjoy the ride. Great week of matches. I maybe not thrilled about the way these went this week. I think we're starting to see some separation already in week 2 of which teams are going to be dominating throughout this season. Maybe I'm jumping the gun a little bit in saying that. I think there's a lot still to be developed, of course. But we got 2 weeks down, man. We got 9-week season, if I'm not mistaken, maybe 10. Everybody will have, I think, I can't remember. Anyways, we're already 2 weeks into it. That's wild.
Yeah, it's just crazy seeing, how short. I mean, we even took a longer hiatus for this between this season and last season, and it just doesn't seem like that time lasted at all. I mean, here's the games. Here we go.
Time flies when you're developing a meta. So turns out we're gonna have a 9-week season. So everybody will play 11 games. We got 9 weeks. So we already got 2 games out of the 11 already under the belt. We're almost 20% into the season. So hope everybody's enjoying what's happening so far. Really looking to bring forward more content and helping just kind of feel our way through this meta and understand a little bit better as we go along. So really excited for that. Thanks for guys so much for listening to us go on about all this. I know there's a lot to take in, but really appreciate you coming in, checking it out.
Really appreciate everybody tuning in, and we hope to catch you guys the rest of the season. And
just feel free to reach out to us. We have an email set up through our website with the Ultimate Pokemon Championship.com website. Everything's spelled out just like you would find in the English language. Ultimate Pokemon Championship.com. Our email is listed right there on it. It's the I think it's Ultimate. Ultimate Pokemon Champions at gmail.com. So you can check that out and get more detailed information directly on the website. Feel free to reach out to us. That would be fantastic. And of course, we got our UPC Discord here. So anytime you have any kind of questions, anybody wants to reach out to our league, find out a little bit more, you know where to find it.